That's a good bingo. What up, though? Poetry and conversations. Come on in. We live in the field, baby. Had to get out here. It's a nice day. Come on in. Wipe your feet off at the door. I know I ain't talked to y'all in a couple of days. So we're going to get it. It's Tuesday. We committed. Poetry and conversations. Poetry and conversations. We're going to talk Mobb Deep, comparison to OutKast. It's not as simple as people think. It's never that simple when we talk hip hop. Let's just get that clear and out there in the open. When we talk hip hop and music, no matter what topic it is, if it's some type of discussion, it's never going to be just cut clear and dry about the straight up just topic, because it's always going to be so many avenues, especially if you come at it with the intentions of learning something. You know, if you approach the conversation as far as walking into it like, okay, I got this objective on it, of course, but I'm still willing to learn this. It's not going to be that simple. I see a lot of people saying, well, first of all, let me give a little backstory on how this whole conversation came about for some that don't know. It was spoke on by Joe Budden. He was asked in the interview. Matter of fact, it was Drink Champs. Because, of course, you know, when Nori, he do that quick time with slime, he asked the question of, well, he had just named two different people, and you just got to pick one, and whether you take a drink. I mean, if you choose a tie out of the two people or things that he give you to choose from, if you don't choose one, you got to drink. But on this particular episode, when Joe Budden was on Drink Champs, he asked him, Mobb Deep or OutKast? And so he chose OutKast. But, you know, a lot of people felt a certain way because, you know how the New Yorkers, you know, they sticking together, and, you know, hip-hop started there. And so, you know, a lot of them do be pretty biased to some degree. Some of them kind of over that whole thing, but some of them still holding on to that and just being real biased. So some found it kind of stunning that he definitely just went on record, because he even said it too. He's like, I got to go on record and say OutKast over Mobb Deep. And then, you know, by him being from the East Coast, from Jersey, if I'm not mistaken, that's where Joe Budden's from. He's from New Jersey. You know, that whole area, New York, Jersey. It's all the coast and the same energy. So by him saying that, I saw a lot of people pick up feedback and steam off of it and come up with their own little 1-2 on it, which we doing here. So I just want to just put it out there that it ain't just that cut and dry. But before I do that, though, I want y'all to make sure y'all make it to the end of the video also. I'm going to give a couple of shout outs. And as a matter of fact, in this video, if you put your name and you shout out where you're from, I'm going to give you a shout out in the next video, in the next poetry and conversation, or maybe another video. But I'm going to definitely shout you out. If you put in the comments that you tuned in, your name and where you're from, or it could be just your name that's on your YouTube page or whatever, I'm going to shout that out just for the love, you know? So be sure to make it to the end of this video too. But of course, that's the topic on poetry and conversations. But of course, you know, by me getting on with the spoken word, I'm starting to show off with a poem. It's only right with a spoken word piece. Since I'm looking at this piece right here, I'm going to do this piece I wrote it's called Entitlement. Shit, you can hear the birds. Look, they ready to hear it. You hear the birds and shit? I don't know if y'all can hear that out here. They giving me a round of applause already. The birds just flying over talking and shit. But look, dig though. This is a piece I wrote called Entitlement. See if you can dig this one. I'm about to read it off the ink. I might do it twice just to catch the feel for it and everything. Ain't no telling. Because I ain't looked at this in a minute. This ain't one of the ones I got in my Memorex that I be performing. It's just a piece that I jotted, of course. This is called Entitlement. Listen to me. If I don't agree with you, that don't mean that I'm right and you wrong. The lines of communication and disagreement, sadly enough, is what keeps the world moving on. Fuck your opinions. Fuck your observations. When you don't know the full story, it's easy to sit on the sideline and watching the judge making. We all need help. But you happy to say alone that you did it. Some people's sacrifice is bigger than yours. But you took the easy way out and just quit it. Bullshit it. Don't compare my story to yours. I guess this the point where I fabricate growing up in the hood and how life is hard. If we wasn't given the title poor niggas, we probably wouldn't think it's large. Or we probably would think large. We once was kings and queens. But where the knowledge went, now we all want to be victims and look for entitlement. Entitlement. Let me bring that back. I ain't read this within a minute. See, a lot of these joints, they just be straight to the point. That's one thing with poetry. You ain't got to be all over the place and drive a point home over and over and make the shit all drawn out long. I mean, to each his own how you do your poetry and do your poems, however. But look how you could just get straight to the point and get the fuck up out of there. It'll take that long to get a story across and make a person think. Look, dig. This entitlement. Listen to me. If I don't agree with you, that don't mean that I'm right and you wrong. The lines of communication and disagreement, sadly enough, is what keeps the world moving on. Fuck your opinions. Fuck your observations. When you don't know the full story, it's easy to sit on the sideline watching the judge making. We all need help. But you happy to say that alone that you did it. Some people's sacrifices is bigger than yours. But you took the easy way out and quit it. Bullshit it. Don't compare my story to yours. I guess just the point why I fabricate growing up in the hood and how life is hard. If we wasn't given a title poor niggas, we probably would think more large. We once was kings and queens. But where the knowledge went, now we all want to be victims and looking for entitlement. Entitlement. That's that poem in peace. Y'all ready? Where them birds go? They still out here? I'm going to hit them on cue. Snap, 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 snaps. Maybe they'll fly over the minute and give another round of applause. All right, but let's dig into it. Let's dissect this shit a little bit. Let's talk about it. We got a little time. It's all working and making. We out here. We outside again. Shit. Poetry and conversations. OutKast, Mobb Deep. Let's look at this. There's a lot of different things we can look at when we talk comparison. And it's all about what you into, how you like your hip hop. Of course, the first thing most gonna say is OutKast, because you know they sold more. They somewhat more considered a creative, more animated group. Got more accolades. But the core of Mobb Deep though. Y'all gotta remember Havoc, he was the producer of all that shit. Havoc was the producer of that shit. That's part of Mobb Deep. That's the group. OutKast wasn't producing all that shit. They had the Dungeon family. Even though you did have 3,000, he talented and all. And I'm pretty sure, I definitely know he do some producing on that Love Below, of course. But most of that shit, when you speak to the Dungeon family, though, that don't consist of Big Boy and... I mean, that's part of the Dungeon family, of course. I'm talking about the production, on the production side of it. That ATL and the Southern Playlist and all that shit was produced by them. So on one hand, that's one little notion of talent, a little credit you can give Mobb Deep if you want to dig deep like that, because they was the two of the group, and don't forget, Havoc. That's what I mean. That's what I meant to say. Havoc. I might have said Prodigy was doing that producing earlier. I meant to say Havoc. Havoc was doing the producing. You got to remember he was rapping too, so that's a point for Mobb Deep because they got, as far as being the group, they got the producer. OutKast, they had the Dungeon Family doing their production. So on one hand, you kind of can give a little point to Mobb Deep on that. Like if it's just us two and it's just y'all two, and you come up with what you come up with and we come up with what we come with, just using us for, they got some production. And you got to remember, Mobb Deep, they got anthems. It's all about what you into and how you like your music. And because like I say, I can be unbiased. Because of course the South people, they're going to be biased too. Like, oh, okay, we better than Mobb Deep. By me being from the Midwest, being from Detroit, and growing up listening to both, I can jump in the ear of both of them and be like, okay, well, because shit, listen here. That second Mobb Deep album, that Infamous, I know a lot of people think it's the first album, but it really was the second. That Juvenile Hell was the first one. But that Infamous album, that shit, no skips. That shit is a classic. What OutKast album we gonna compare that to? That's no skips. OutKast got some good ass music, don't get me wrong. But I can't think of an OutKast album that's no skips like the Infamous album. Like I say, don't get me wrong, this is a hard comparison, but it ain't as simple as people just thinking it just because OutKast sold a lot of records and just because OutKast is a bigger, per se, group. Nigga, Shook Ones is an anthem. You heard that shit in 8 Mile, you heard that shit on basketball games, and it's just a street anthem. That's some culture shit, that's some timing. So then, like I say, you got a producer and a rapper that's just getting it done. Man, that's something to look at. Now, if you a hardcore hip hop head and you like that boom bap with the rawness to it and the street edge, and you want it that way, them the ones that can choose the Mobb. And you ain't gotta be from New York to choose the Mobb. And you ain't gotta be a straight up boom bap head, because Mobb Deep shit was deeper than that. That Murder Music album, come on, man, that shit had that thump. And not to mention it was street shit. It's like that corner hip hop. When I say corner hip hop, it's that this was at a time when you throwing on the fatigues or you standing on a block for a while doing whatever you do, and that shit just pumping, That was a culture. Don't get me wrong, OutKast had a culture too, like playing the music, you can ride to it, borderline pimp shit to a certain extent, Cadillac music. That's what OutKast started with and ventured off to more. Like I say, it ain't no question in the argument that OutKast is a bigger group. We not gonna even debate that. But when we say just basically who you choose, that's gonna be up to you. And there's so many things you could think of. That's why I put it out that the comparison just ain't that simple. It's deeper than just the sales and who was more verbal and who talked the most and interviews and the look and the whole persona of an image. Once you hit the culture, you hit the culture, and they both did that. OutKast put a dent in the culture. We can't dispute that. They gave it style. The South got something to say. That's a sentence that's gonna live on forever. And whoever came after it. And plus, it was even people that came before them. But when 3000 said that was a statement that's never gonna be forgotten in hip hop. So it's definitely something to think about. So that's on you. So definitely put in the comments of who you choose. I definitely, and tell me why you choose them. That's why I say you can't You can't just say just one because I can have. Personally, I can have a mood for both of them. I could be in the mood. I could be in the mood for Mobb Deep and another day that's been in the mood to hear some OutKast. They both was duos. Even though in my mind I used to always compare like a Mobb Deep to like a Dog Pound or something like that. If I was in a position to put it out there, I probably would have put them two groups in there or something. Mobb Deep and Dog Pound. Cause they more like both was raw and duos and from two different coasts and around the same time, and both was on some street shit but still had that hip hop edge. And see, that's one thing you could tell, even when certain people live on some street shit, you could tell that they still love hip hop, they still love the culture, they still love the music. Because let's give it up to Prodigy, man. He deserved more credit. He at least on a good day, Prodigy is top 10. Let me see, at least 10 or 15 lyricists in my book. And when I say lyricists, it's about the delivery, the cadence, the stories, the mood it put you in, the way he used to just paint pictures. Though his shit was raw, and he had that grunt to his vocals. You can tell he was like, how can I say? You can hear his emotions in his shit too, though. Prodigy, he deserved more credit. He has some lyrics, and when I say lyrics, that storytelling, that heartfelt shit, that HNIC album, that's definitely one of my favorite albums of all times. Outside of the Mobb Deep shit, that album that Prodigy had by itself, that part 1, man, that shit's so fucking soulful. And I used to post that shit a lot too. All that, man, that with that Keep It Thorough, that album, man, that motherfucker banged. That album banged through. It was just, it was like a moody. It was kind of dark. Don't get me wrong. It was kind of dark to a certain extent, but it was like a little. How can I say it? That it just was a moment. It had a feel to it. It was like some soulful street shit. And especially came at a time before a lot of the other albums started coming and people started being on that. It's kind of like, in a nutshell, it's kind of like that music, how a lot of these people is making right now while they on drugs. It sound a little bit depressing a little bit. Hip hop, we kind of went through that a little bit a couple years ago with a lot of these young rappers who on drugs and whatnot. And how the songs are just real slow and gloomy and kind of depressive, but still kind of soulful to a certain extent. It's kind of darkish. That HNIC album was kind of like that, but it didn't stay in a dark area. It kind of just went there, but it still was soulful and it still had some moments in there to where it still was kind of fun too. With that can't complain and shit like that. I just want to get out and ride. But I definitely love that album though. All y'all hip hop heads, if y'all ain't up on that album, go research that boy there. That HNIC, that Prodigy album. That's a bad boy. But full circle though, OutKast and Mobb Deep, it's not that simple. It's not that simple. It's because it sells. It all depends on how you like your hip hop. That's why it could be arguable. It could be debatable. So it's up to you. How you like your hip hop? How you like your music? It's kind of like an off comparison though. I wouldn't compare them. Like I said, I would have said Mobb Deep, or I would have said Mobb Deep and Dog Pound, something like that. Something more fair. It ain't too fair to compare them to OutKast. It's two totally different styles, but they both can be loved if you judging it fair and looking at it fair. And like I say, just the love of music and hip hop. Speaking of hip hop, damn, that's a big ass. Oh man, I should see these joints just pulled up. Make me want to get the fuck on. They done pulled up like I'm in their spot. But listen though, speaking of hip hop, I know a lot of people get that one poem, that hip hop poem I got. Some people, they kind of like, I kind of noticed the feel. Some people be confused. I ain't gonna say they be confused, but the synopsis of the whole poem, I'm basically saying that no matter how much this shit change, it stay the same for every era. That's the whole goal of the poem, of getting it off. I mean, I'm about to spit it right now. But it be so many, when I perform that joint and I be out, I get asked about it. And it kind of like it just be certain pieces of the poem that people pick out that they just like themselves and they just keep to themselves. When I say keep to themselves, they be thinking I was talking about that the whole poem, but the whole bottom line to the shit is all that shit is the same, my era to your era. Even though I started off like this, but listen, let me just hit the mark. Let me hit the joint. I said it's not that my hip hop was better than yours, but hey, shit, my hip hop was better than yours. Now see, I ain't trying to separate. Cause see, for every crank that soldier boy, there was the Humpty dance. Whipping that nay, hitting the quine to a dude on the corner, some tight ass Adidas pants, in the b-boy stance. But see, we was hip hop. You see, Salt and Pepper, MC Light, Queen Latifah, all can hold their own. But see, y'all wanted Nikki to stand alone or by another female get knocked off the throne. Listen to me. Bone gave us harmony. Now what a coincidence. Cause see, now that sound like today's R&B. You see, no more love ballads. Just a bunch of rap singing and dudes talking about how high they want to get you and how they want to get the pussy. Snoop had us on gin and juice. The Chronic was finally introduced. Cash Money took over for the 99 and 2000, but her mama was already popping that coochie for Luke. Hell is the truth. You see, it ain't nothing new to discover. All the way down to the fashion. To the artist never asking about these demonic ass symbols and borderline gay ass album covers. That the 70s started. Yeah, that the 70s started. Question. Why Jeffrey Osborne and LTD on them album covers ain't have on no shirts? Isley Brothers, Isaac Hayes, Al Green, all cleaned up like pimps. Go in your mama basement, write the dust off them records and do your research. Cause see, the first to make me think or raise my fists was Chuck and Chris. Chuck and Chris, KRS-One and Chuck D. Red, black, and green before we saw delicious ass Flavor Flav was trying to tell us what time it is. Cause see, we used to rewind shit. See, I was one of them kids in the mirror with the broom. The voice of the streets. Hip hop used to keep us all in tune. See, I'm in love with the culture. But I ain't one of them old heads that's stuck in the past. But lately, y'all been on some bullshit. Mainstream hip hop and kissing my ass. Man, these niggas trash. Only the real gon' last. Rap talk. Snap, 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 snaps. Now you can pull any line out that song you want to and make it work for you. That's basically what I was saying. Because I start off the poem, I say, you might think I'm trying to be offensive when I say, it's not that my hip hop is better than yours, but hey, my hip hop is better than yours. So I'm walking in, you might be on the defense if you think I'm about to come at you with a certain way. But in the end, you heard what I said too. I say, see, I'm in love with the culture. And I ain't one of them old heads that's stuck in the past. But lately, y'all been on some bullshit. Mainstream hip-hop kiss my ass. Now, it is kind of starting and ending on a vague type way. If you want to segue that way and think that I'm going against the whole grain of everything. But in the middle of the whole joint of the poem, there's so many different things that I'm saying that's a contradiction within itself of how, even though things change, they stay the same. That's why I say for every crank that soldier, there was the Humpty Dance. That's what we had. Hip-hop always had gimmicks. Hip-hop always had artists come and go. We had the Vanilla Ice. We had the Hammer. We had everything. We had these people with these cartoon characters, cereal, all types of shit, cartoons, all that. Things being, I can say blown out of proportion, but when people just ride the wave of something that's just real big like that. So that was the whole thesis of the poem, that things change, but they stay the same. But coming full circle to OutKast and Mobb Deep, it's on you. How you like your hip hop? That's what you're gonna choose. That's where you're gonna get your answer from, right there. How you like your hip hop. If you like your shit gutter, round the corner, boom bap, with some lyrics, Prodigy and have it. Boom. But if you feeling some cruising, you want your shit a little psychedelic, you want to down there borderline a little rockish, rock and roll, pop, a mixture of all that, still got the lyrics. It's just a hard comparison. It wasn't fair. Let's just say that. It wasn't fair. It wasn't a fair one. But it's definitely something to talk about. So, but you can go on and pick it up. When I said pick it up, but you can go on and, like I say, put in the comments, tell me why. Tell me why you chose who you chose. And we're going to talk about it. And again, like I told you, put in the comments where you watching from, where you tuned in from, what city. I'm going to give you a shout out on the next episode, Poetry and Conversation. I might even make a poem and throw your name in it or something. I might freestyle you something. I just want to be in tune. That's what these lives is for. So it could be a connection. This is all raw. This is no tape. This is no edits. This is no nothing. When you see somebody doing live content, give them the little push of the edge of the credit of just going on the fly. Whatever come out, it's out there. Nah, that's what going live do. That's live entertainment. It's posted. It's up. So I thank y'all for tuning in. Poetry and Conversation. I get with y'all next Tuesday, but in between all of that, check out some of them shorts. I got some more content coming. Drop some more poems I've been writing. I'm gonna put some more performances up when I be stepping out. I definitely be hating that shit when I go out and I be performing. And I don't be recording all the time. Sometimes sometimes it just be me, or sometimes I do take somebody with me, but it just be that in the moment shit to where I'm just vibing and I'm just, but we'll put more recordings up, some of my live performances so y'all can see me out and see the reactions and, just see the live performance and the interactions of how some of the poems probably can come across different when you see a different energy than besides me just sitting around saying it, like this. As long as you get the gist of it, you appreciate it. That's all that matters. Poetry and Conversations. I get with y'all in a minute. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Text this video to somebody. Share on your Facebook. Messages to somebody. Start a conversations. And you piggyback up off the whole video. Start your own conversation or group chat about it, about how OutKast could be compared to Mobb Deep. Even though it ain't that simple, but it's out there now. Thanks to the show, buddy. It's out there in that Drink Champs episode. But I'll get with y'all in a minute, though. Rap Talk.